I just came back from... And my allergies are really bad, but we're gonna get through this. Hi. Let's see. I think I like it like that. Hello, how are you? We will wait just a minute for everyone to join. Happy Friday. Hi. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, my allergies have been terrible, and then I went to the park today because it was nice, and honestly, I sound really nasal. I should not have gone to the park, but we're going to get through this. Hello, been watching for a year now. Hi. Hi, Debo. I'm so glad you've been watching. Thank you for watching and supporting and all of that. Again, if you're just hopping on, I apologize about the way that I sound. My allergies have been kicking like crazy, and I decided to go to the park today, and that was not a good idea. I had a good workout, but maybe not the best idea for my allergies, so there's that. Happy Friday. Oh, thank you, Kevin. That's very sweet. All right, we'll wait just a minute or two for people to hop on, if they will. If not, that's cool too. Hi, Pablo. How are you? My boyfriend's texting me. I just can't, hey. Hey, Zepco. Hello. Yeah, it's actually, we had today in Virginia, it was like t-shirt weather. It was so nice. So I decided to go to the park. And I did a lap around the park. And so I'm in Virginia, right? Oh my gosh, I sound so nasal. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. I'm suffering. So I went to the park. I have wine right here. I went to the park, and the park that I go to, it's a huge park, and then there's like little trails, and it's woods, and it's actually an old Civil War battlefield. And when you're walking, there's like these little trails in the woods, and when you're walking on those trails, there's war trenches. So there you can still see the trenches that the soldiers like built and hid behind, which I think is really cool. But yeah, you can totally still see them. And so I got to see that while I was walking. Hold on. Political science college professor, Sarah. Wait, you are, or are you saying I am? Which would... It's so funny that I talk about this stuff now, because when I was actually in school, I did terrible in school. I did not want to pay attention. I had other things on my mind. I had other things that I wanted to do. So there's that. All right, I'll wait 2 more minutes, and then we'll get started. If there's anything you want to ask in the next 2 minutes, ask. I'll look at the chat. Oh, I'm a college professor. Holy cow. Sorry about the snooze. It's so bad. I'm such a baby. Virginia. Ooh. No, just kidding. I'm looking at something. Did you hear that HIV was used to create the vax? The BBC just reported it. I did not, but that's definitely gonna be something I looked into. No, it's so funny that I'm interested in all this like history type stuff. Well, I think also it's because I lived in California for so long, and there's just a different... You have like Hollywood history, and you know, like Native American history and stuff like that, but it's definitely a different type of history. Like the farther west you go, the different the history is. And it was the same in Colorado. It was sort of a gold rush type history, a coal mining history, a western history, but it wasn't the same history that's in Virginia. So here we have like the Civil War history, because battles, like where I am right now, where I'm sitting right now, I guarantee you there were soldiers that either marched or fought literally right where I'm sitting right now in this chair. That's how like rural we are, and that's how rich the history is around here, and that's how close the park was that I just went to. So the park that I just went and hiked at today was a Civil War battlefield. So yeah, you go, there's a big open field, and then when you go, there's little trails that are off in the woods, and when you go in the woods, there's all these signs, and it'll tell you exactly what happened, and it'll also tell you exactly what is there. And a lot of the way you're walking by trenches that the Civil War soldiers built, and they're still there, and they encourage people, they're like, please don't, they call them earthworks, they're like, please don't touch these earthworks, we want to preserve them, but you can still very much see where the earth raises, and then there's like trenches, and they kind of snake. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I'll have to look that up. Salty Army in the house. Hi. I love this Salty Cracker. He's so funny. So funny. And he has no shame. All right. We will get started. Okay, so first I wanted to talk about, because I think this is really cool. I've been wanting them to do this for over a year. No, for the past 2 years I've been wanting them to do this. Venice Beach is possibly going to be suing the government. So we'll talk about that first. Salty is on live right now. I'm streaming both you guys simultaneously. Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be streaming with Salty. I'm a fan of his. Tell him I said hi in the chat. Not that he looks at that, unless you give him a super chat. So Venice Beach might be suing the government. We'll go into that. Joe Rogan. Hey, from Florida. I'm a new listener. Hi. This isn't, I'm sorry that I'm nasal if you're a new listener. So we'll be talking about Venice Beach might be suing their government, which I think is awesome. I've been wanting them to do this for a while now. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan. A lot of people thought he bended the knee by apologizing. He did not, and I'm quite proud of this. He said he had a few words to say to CNN. Kanye West recently said some weird stuff, so we'll be looking into that, and then whatever else it is that we have time for. Sometimes I like to put a little pop culture things to sprinkle in, just so we're not like talking about politics nonstop, although I do like it, but sometimes on a Friday it's cool to talk about other things. But let's talk about Venice Beach. I lived in Venice Beach at the start of the pandemic, and the homeless situation is very bad. It's probably one of the worst cities in LA besides downtown LA, where Skid Row is. By the way, there is a street in Venice Beach called Rose Avenue, and they call it Skid Rows because there's some homeless shelters there, and then there's a lot of tent encampments on this road. But let's look at what's happening. So during the summer of 2021, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department did go in and they did clear off a lot of the tent encampments that were on the boardwalk, because that got to the point during the pandemic where it was just covered in tent encampments. And it's because police were not enforcing so there's a law in Venice Beach where you cannot camp overnight. And during the pandemic, this was not being enforced due to like COVID and all that stuff. And that caused the homeless situation it was already bad before, but it absolutely spiraled when everyone was on lockdown. And that's one of the reasons. Hangover Gang. Hi. He has some new videos that I need to look at. I haven't yet because I've been saving them to do this, but usually I have a schedule where every time he puts out a video, I'll watch it that Friday and then put out a video and then buy the song. I just haven't yet. I want to watch it when I put out a reaction to it, but I plan on doing that. So thank you for being here. So this is Venice Beach, California, which honestly, you guys, I know that LA gets a lot of crap. I know that Venice Beach gets a lot of crap, but it's still one of my favorite places. I learned to skateboard in Venice Beach. In Venice, California, famed for its beach and bohemian ambience, residents are so fed up with the rampant homelessness plaguing them that they are considering suing the city of Los Angeles. The president of the Venice Stakeholders Association, Mark Ravik, stated there is almost no police presence or fire department presence down here overnight. We're putting the city on notice that if there is loss of life, if there is a structure fire, they are clearly already negligent and they already will face a huge settlement. It's illegal to camp on Venice Beach, and we want that message established and enforced by the rules that already exist. Last week, an attorney for the stakeholders group sent a letter to several Los Angeles city offices, once again pointing out the dangers and warning that continuing to ignore the overnight camping problem in Venice could lead to expensive legal payouts. So they are seeking, so what they're saying is if there's a large problem that happens with a structure, if there is a loss of life or anything super damaging, that they are going to be suing the city, looking for a settlement to the residents and to the people involved. Just the other week, a video came out of a man walking down the boardwalk and setting every single trash can that he passed on fire. There was also during this, I think it was during the summer, it might say in this article, but there was a historic structure that was set on fire, and the fire started in a homeless encampment. But it also says Andrew Sullivan, who lives in Venice, told the Daily Mail, Venice Beach is in a state of emergency on all levels, and we need right now is FEMA. If you were dared to go to the boardwalk tonight, you would not see these so-called mental health workers from St. Joseph's Center walking around helping people. Residents only see this happening when they call the media to be here or on an activist live stream camera is on. It's a collection of the biggest non-profit grifters ever assembled in one city. It's all about making those in charge look like they're actually doing something when those of us who live here see firsthand the horrors of mismanagement. If our leaders would fix this, if our leaders wanted to fix this, they would have had $800 million plus in the bank since 2017 to do so, and they were just given another $5 million. This is what I was just telling you. 2 homeless men were caught on surveillance cameras last week allegedly lighting fire to 15 trash cans along the boardwalk overnight and setting a cardboard box on fire, destroying a park bench. Since then, residents have grown increasingly concerned of a repeat of January 2021 incident where a fire at a homeless encampment spread to an unoccupied 2-story building. The massive blaze took more than 200 firefighters to put it out. The structure was destroyed. The owner is actually suing Los Angeles, so that owner is suing Los Angeles. I think they should sue. I've been waiting for them to do this. You're paying taxes. You're living in one of the most coveted spots in the world and one of the most expensive spots in the U.S., and your kids, your elderly are subjected to this stuff all the time. I've even looked for, I remember looking at different apartments in Venice, and I would look at the apartment, and it was this really expensive apartment. It was kind of decent, like a nice apartment, and then I would do the street view, right? Like right outside the apartment, I would do a street view, and you would see a van just several vans just parked out right in front of the apartment. I'm like, I'm not going there. Why would I move there and pay all that money when there are these vans just parked right outside, and these are vans that people live in? Late August, KTLA, so that's the local Los Angeles news source, officials say more than 200 homeless people were moved from the Venice Beach boardwalk, once the site of a massive encampment that became the flashpoint of the homeless crisis in Los Angeles. With local elections coming in June and November of this year, a coalition of civic leaders released the results of a focused study group Thursday that found that Los Angeles County voters have a complete lack of faith in the city and county of LA to address the homelessness crisis. And then the thing is, when you speak out, so not only are you paying astronomical prices to live there, if you complain about it, your government will basically gaslight you and say you have to be more compassionate. So, like, people are getting attacked randomly by these homeless individuals who are living on the streets. You're having to be exposed. Meat is racist now. You're having to be exposed to an open-air drug market. And your kids are having to be exposed to this. Your elderly are having to be exposed to this. It's dangerous, and if you say anything, you are told that you need to have more compassion for the unhoused. They don't even like it if you call them homeless. You have to call them the unhoused. When the reality is that I think it was estimated they need a focus group. Yeah, they needed a focus group. They couldn't just see it with their own eyes. They needed a focus group. 75%, it was estimated that about 75% of the people that live in tent encampments in Venice Beach are not even from, they're not from Venice Beach, they're not even from California. I don't know. Hannity the other night. All this on Twitter by Michael Schallenberger. He wrote a book. I have it right behind me. I'm reading it. But he wrote a book called San Francisco. And San Francisco also, as you all know, has a giant homeless problem. And he interviewed this man who was homeless on the street. And he was like, well, where did you come from? Why are you here? And the man goes, oh, I came here from Texas because, you know, it's just easy to live my lifestyle here in San Francisco. He goes, the people, the city, you can look all this up. This is all online. And it was on Hannity the other night. He said, the city basically pays me to be homeless. I get $650 a month to live on the street. The cops don't enforce anything. They're basically our friends. And, you know, I just get my $650 a month. And I'm homeless and I sell fentanyl. So these cities, you know, the elected officials like to say that this is only a housing issue. So that's why you see, what did they say? 500 million, is that what they said? No, 800 million plus in the bank since 2017 and given another 5 million. So what they do is they pump all of this money into housing. So they'll pay these developers at cost for all these housing units for the homeless that cost an exorbitant amount of money. And they say that this is just a housing issue. It's just a housing issue. It's just a housing issue. What they don't say is the policies that they put in place attract homeless all over the country to come to those cities. So what are you saying? Are you saying that everyone that comes to your city to... Oh my gosh, it's my cat. Hold on. Ugh. Eva. Come here. Well, now that you're here, you have to say hi. You have to say hi if you're here. There's a mess behind me. I went shopping today, so I was looking. Eva, say hi. No, say hi. She's a super high maintenance cat.
I didn't get that. Did you try again?
No, Siri. Eva.
Okay.
Oh, she's a big cat. She's a really big... Siri, be quiet. Yeah, so basically they're creating policies that attract people from all over the U.S. to come to these cities. And then they're saying, we'll just build housing for all of them. How is that sustainable for anyone? And especially, it's abusive towards the taxpayers. That's why it makes me really happy that people are suing the city, because your city's your local government's basic function is to make sure you're safe. Or to at least not waste your tax dollars. But especially in LA, there's a lot of corruption in LA. We've had 6 or at least 5 city council members within the past 5 years who have been arrested for corruption. And a lot of it has to do with development. So this really doesn't surprise me that they call it a housing issue and then they pay developers to build like these like luxury looking condos and apartments for homeless. Okay, let's talk about Joe Rogan. So we all know what's been happening with Joe Rogan, basically. Steve said, Sarah, did you see the kids jump for joy when they were told the mask mandate was lifted? I did, and it touches my heart. Yeah, it really touches my heart. That was adorable. I wonder... There's also a lot of kids walking out of school from the mask mandates. Oh, I can't find it right now. Okay, well, I'll look for that later. If I can find it, I'll play it. Okay, so we all know what's been happening with Joe Rogan. He apologized for this video coming out. Basically, CNN and all of these people have been trying to deplatform or censor Joe Rogan. And they're saying it's because of medical misinformation, because he has dangerous ideas, but really it's because Joe is so powerful. Well, during a UFC presser, Dana White was leading. Dana White got a question. Someone jumped in, but I want you to listen to this. And I want you to listen to the boos right after this question was asked. And I want you to listen to the response. This is pretty cool.
Dana, I had a question for you around Joe Rogan. There's been a lot of controversy with him.
First off, let me take this one. Hold up. I'm black. I can take this one. Look.
What were...
No. There's a lot of cunts in this game. There's a lot of snakes in this game. I've been in this fight game since 2008. And Joe Rogan is one of the nicest, coolest, humble motherfuckers I've had the pleasure of working with. Understand that? And you know, it's just... Fuck the noise, man. You know what they're trying to do. You can't control the man, and he's got the biggest platform in the world right now. So that's my nigga, Joe.
Oops. Free speech, CNN dangerous. So, hold on. Let me see who that was. Israel Adesanya. Did I say that correctly? So, he's a fighter, and he decided to answer that question. That was actually directed towards Dana White, and he jumped in and answered that question, and I absolutely loved it. He shut the reporter down, but what I also loved were the people that were booing right behind him. Like, come on, stop asking that question. But Joe Rogan on his show too called out the media even more, and I love that he is doubling down. He's awesome. Yeah, he seems awesome. That was pretty cool. So, on Thursday's installment of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan spoke about the problem various news sources, CNN, have with him that more people believe me or trust me or want to listen to me talk. He said, okay, so basically, if you remember, like Brian Stelter, reliable sources, all of Brian's sources are reliable. Brian Stelter on CNN only wants you to listen to him because he's so reliable per his sources on his show. He is the most reliable, Brian Stelter. So you can only listen to Brian Stelter. Everyone else is misinformation. Well, Joe Rogan called him out and others and said, I'll repeat this. The problem, various news sources. Oh, and Brian Stelter, before I get to this, also said, why are people listening to Joe Rogan in his podcast? We have a whole research department. We have a whole medical department. We're CNN. Why aren't they listening to us? Alka Stelter. Well, this is why. So Joe Rogan addressed this. And it is. It's like, why? Joe Rogan is a comedian. He used to host Fear Factor. He's a fighter. Why do more people trust and listen to him instead of CNN? Well, in Joe's words, it's because he says, the problem various news sources have with me that more people believe me or trust me or want to listen to me talk, the answer is not to silence me. The answer is for you to do better. The answer is for you to have a better argument. When you are on television talking about how I'm taking horse paste and you know that's not true, he's taking horse dewormer. What you should have said, how did Joe Rogan get better so quick? How come he got COVID that's killing everybody and he's gotten better in 5 days, negative in 5 days, working out in 60 days? How come that's never discussed? If you're in the business and your business is the news and you want to get more people to pay attention, you should be honest. And my thoughts for CNN, my advice for them, I don't hate CNN. I used to go to them every day for the news and still they started I used to go to them every day in the news and still they started effing hating on me. If you want to do better, then just effing change your model. Change the way you do it. Stop this editorial perspective with guys like Brian Stelter and Don Lemon that nobody listens to. Nobody is chiming in saying, oh yeah, finally we get the voice of reason. Nobody thinks that. Have people that give out effective news, objective news, rather, and I'll support you. I will turn around 100% and I'll be one of the people that tells it like it is. I saw this on CNN. Watch this on CNN. So he's basically saying to CNN what all of us think. Stop pointing the finger at everyone else and start looking at yourselves. If you want to know what the problem is, you're the problem. The reason no one watches CNN and people watch people like Joe Rogan is because Joe is honest. Whether he's right or wrong, you at least know that he's honest. CNN presents themselves as your trusted news source and they lie constantly and everybody knows they lie. It is no secret that they lie and no one wants to watch them. And I think it actually started with Zucker, who was just fired. It seemed to really take a turn around him because CNN, when I was younger, it used to be the middle of the road. It used to be if you wanted honest, sort of middle of the road, unbiased news, you would turn on CNN. And then it took a hard change and they've lost within a year 90% of their viewers. And that is why we know that you lie. We know that you are 1000% propaganda and no one wants to watch you. And Brian Stelter, how is someone like Brian Stelter even on TV in the first place? How did he beat out? That blows my mind completely. Hi, Boston. Bye. Brian Stelter looks like a rejected hot dog or a rejected potato. No, they never learn. They just double down. But I do know that there was a huge merger with, I think it was it Time? I don't know. But there was a huge merger with CNN, and CNN is involved in it. And the largest shareholder in the merger, I believe his name is John Mullane, but he spoke about CNN, and he did say, I want CNN to change, and I want CNN to go back to doing actual journalism. So even the largest shareholder in this merger knows that CNN is full of baloney. What are you doing? I honestly think that anyone that watches CNN now, they just do it for that hateful feedback loop. CNN is all pervs. Yeah, they have a lot of problems. And I really, now that I think about it, now that Zucker has left CNN, it really does seem like it started with him. Stelter looks bloated because he's full of hot air. I just showed my cat. She's right there. Okay, let's talk about Kanye for a minute. I might have to get off. I'm so congested. It's awful. CNN, certainly not news. Certainly fake news. Okay, we'll talk about Kanye. This is more of a pop culture story, but it's so bad. Everything just feels off. Oh, it's okay. I'll be fine. I took allergy medicine, but it doesn't, and it was my fault too. I went to the park today. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but it was really nice out. Okay, let's talk about Kanye. This is a little bit more pop culture, but we did talk about the whole Astroworld incident where Travis Scott, who is a young rapper, he was performing. 10 people passed away at his concert. Just blow your nose. No, it does. Blowing my nose doesn't help. It doesn't. Don't take an Alka-Stelter. Ha ha ha. No, if it was simply blowing my nose, that's not. It doesn't help. All meds are made in China. They don't work. Kanye 2024. I don't know. I'm not really down with what he just said. I don't know what he's doing here. But hey, sometimes you agree with someone, sometimes you don't. Hope it's a cold. No, it's not a cold. COVID is a cold. No, it's definitely allergies. I've had them before. I know what they are. And I only get them in Virginia. No, I typically like Kanye West. I like that he doesn't really care what people think. I like that he says things as he sees them and as he feels. Not much. We're starting on a new thing that I'll probably hop off in a minute. But in this situation, I'm like, I don't know what he's doing here. So the Astroworld incident happened, and this happened with a young rapper named Travis Scott. So Travis Scott performed, and Travis Scott has sort of groomed his, I hate using the word groomed because that's such a heavy word, but he sort of developed his audience into being what he calls ragers, and he encourages them to go hard, and he's like, if you don't get injured, you didn't have a good time, and that's the kind of culture that he created. He creates a culture for people to disrespect security guards, for people to jump across security barricades and get into his concerts without buying tickets. Well, Kanye's still friends with Trump. I don't know. So at one of his concerts, Astroworld, which if you look at all that, it was poorly planned, it was poorly managed, and it was already an unsafe environment because kids were jumping over barricades, coming in without tickets early on, and the whole day there were warning signs that this was just not a good situation, and no one ever stopped, no one ever did anything. And this had been even way before Travis Scott got on stage. This used to be, or this was just, it was clearly evident that this was not a good situation. It was chaotic, it was unmanageable, but it was just allowed to go on all day. Travis Scott got on the stage, performed. There ended up being 10 people, 10 of his fans, all young people that died of basically suffocation in the audience. People were screaming for help when it was known that the first few people were seriously in danger. The concert went on for a long time, so it was declared a mass casualty event, and then the concert, I believe, went on for like 40 more minutes. But now Travis Scott has a lot of lawsuits against him. Live Nation, the organization that put on this concert, Astroworld, have a lot of lawsuits against them, and they're in a lot of trouble. And Travis Scott has kind of been MIA since all of this, hasn't really said much. Well, anyway, so Billie Eilish, she is a young performer. You might know who she is. And she is starting a tour and is having these large concerts, and it was on video, and this video got released. I can actually play you the audio if you want to hear it. But she noticed that a fan was in distress in her audience, and this person in distress needed an inhaler. So she stopped the show to make sure that one of the security guards could go get her the inhaler. Let me see if it'll play. But I'll let you listen to the audio.
By advertising on YouTube, I grow my business by reaching my most important customers, people like Allison.
Can we just grab one? It's okay. Only or two? We got one. It's okay. We got one. Guys, give her some time. Don't crowd. Relax. It's okay. Nothing's happening. We're good. It's okay. We're taking care of our people. Hold on. I wait for people to be okay until I keep going. You need to come out. Are you okay? Is everyone good?
Okay, so she stops the show. She sees this person is in distress, and she realizes this person needs an inhaler. I guess they communicate or something. She's like, okay, everyone, it's fine. We're calm. We're okay. She goes, I wait for people to be okay. And this is where Kanye West comes in. So when you hear her fans like screaming, they're like, oh, she's referring to Travis Scott. Yeah, we don't like that. But she never said anything against Travis Scott. And even if she did, who cares? Oh, where was it? Eva, no. So Kanye West, and I typically like him. I like that he really doesn't care what people think and all that stuff, but he felt the need to chime in. So he put this headline on an Instagram story of his and said, come on, Billy, we love you. Please apologize to Trav and to the families of the people who lost their lives. No one intended this to happen. Trav didn't have any idea of what was happening when he was on stage and was very hurt by what happened. Yes, Trav will be with me at Coachella, but now I need Billy to apologize before I perform. So Kanye West is a headliner at Coachella, and so is Billie Eilish. And Billie Eilish responded. I actually have some respect for her because she responded and she didn't apologize. She just said, Basically what she said was, I never mentioned anything about Travis. I was making sure the people in my audience were okay. And I'm glad that she said that. The families of the people that passed away at Astroworld actually had some words for Kanye as well. And typically, I'm a fan of Kanye, but you don't agree with everything that everyone does or says. And the family of Ezra, the 9-year-old that passed away, said this to Kanye. To hear Kanye's words, that is hurtful to us. What an idiotic thing to say. Another family member said, I think it's just crazy, and I hate to use that word, but I think it's ridiculous. She's making sure that she is caring for the patrons of her concert, and I just think that's crazy of Kanye to even let that demand come out of his mouth. And I also hate using the word, I understand what she's saying. I hate using that word crazy too, because I've followed Kanye for a long time, and he'll say people just dismiss everything I say as crazy, as crazy, as crazy. No, I'm not necessarily saying it's crazy. It's just mind-blowing that you would have this opinion out of someone who is taking care of the patrons at their concert. Another family member said, that's crazy that he wants... Oh, thank you. Frank said, I hope you feel better soon. Thank you so much, Frank. I will. I appreciate that. Thank you. So another family member said, that's crazy that he wants someone to apologize for putting the welfare of someone else before their profits. That's someone who needed their asthma pump. They could have lost their life right then. This world is twisted, and we have to stop doing this. Somebody also said, I totally commend Billie for having the decency about her. I think what she did was wonderful, and I would love to tell her myself how brilliant and awesome she is for doing that. This is the family of the little 9-year-old that passed away in Astroworld. Our family is struggling because the loss of Ezra has affected us all mentally, physically, and spiritually. We're still trying to pick up the pieces. Kanye needs to have more empathy about him. And, this isn't trying to say, this isn't trying to demonize someone, but this just goes to show sometimes how people just don't realize how they affect others. And that was the entire issue with Travis, is that he completely, for almost his entire career at High, he completely disregarded the safety of his fans and actually made a joke about it and made a whole culture about his fans getting hurt when they came to his concerts. And what is also interesting about, this is a little bit more pop culture-y than what we normally talk about. I just thought it was Friday, so I'd dive into this a little bit more. Thank you, MacGyver. I just thought we'd get into pop culture a little bit more. It's Friday. But what's interesting too, so Kanye says, here's a little bit of tea, a little bit of gossip, a little bit of what I think is going on here. They are weirdos, and the reason this story is important too is because it kind of goes to show that people will have such a fandom over someone. They will idolize someone, but it's important to know, yes, you can be a fan of someone's music. Yes, you can like maybe the products that they put out. Yes, you can enjoy the entertainment that they put out, but don't idolize these people, because at the end of the day, the majority of these people, not all of them, I think what Billie Eilish did was pretty cool. Not all of them, but a lot of them do not care about their fans. Their fans are nothing but a dollar sign. They're nothing but a number. They're nothing but energy for them to suck up and use for their fame, or for themselves. They do not care about their fans. And what's funny too is, so Billie Eilish never said, you heard that, 9-year-old at Astroworld, great parenting. Well, you know what? What I do have to say, a lot of people do say that, but this is also one of the problems I blame a lot of people on that because Travis Scott has this culture of raging. They could have set an age limit at his concert. They could have said this is 16 and up, this is 18 and up, but they didn't. It was all ages. Travis Scott is also marketed to young people, like really young people, kids. He was on Fortnite. He lost his deal with Fortnite after this whole thing. So I agree with you, but I also see the parents' point of view where if you're seeing it's an all ages festival show and maybe you've never been there before, I don't know. But Billie Eilish, what I will say is that, and you heard when she was checking on that fan, she never said anything about Travis. You could clearly hear the audience, though. They were like, oh, she's definitely talking about Travis. And they started to laugh and cheer. But she never said anything. And I actually researched this. And if you look back in history, she has done this throughout her whole career where she has stopped shows, even before this tragedy happened, where she has stopped shows to check on people in her audience. And they went ahead and tried to call her out. I'm glad and she's young too. I think she's in her early 20s, like early 20s. So Kanye's a lot older than her. But was also interesting. I just need to like lay in the bed and just do that. I'm so sorry. I'm not used to having allergies like this. Okay, I'm going to finish this off. So, what's also interesting is that Live Nation should change its name to Dead Nation. It's okay, I'm fine. I've seen Kid Rock in concert before. And when I was a teenager, I used to go to music festivals all the time with my friends. And they were safe. It was fine. It wasn't dangerous. But what's also interesting is Travis Scott was supposed to headline. Okay, so Billie Eilish is headlining at Coachella. And Kanye West is headlining at Coachella. And basically what Kanye said was, yes, Trav will be with me at Coachella, but now I need Billie to apologize before I perform. So is he saying he's not going to perform unless Billie Eilish apologizes? And then he's saying Trav will be with me at Coachella. So Travis was supposed to perform at Coachella, and they were like, no, we're good. And then I think each artist gets like a few $1 million to perform. And then his team was like, well, Travis will perform for free. And they were like, no, we're good. And honestly, I don't think fans wanted to see Travis perform. So Kanye is saying, yes, Trav will be with me at Coachella. So is he going to bring is Travis just going and he's going to hang out backstage? Or is this a sneaky way for Travis to try to get back on stage? Is this going to be like his coming back out? Is he going to be like a surprise guest by Kanye? Again, I like Kanye most of the time. I do not think this is a good look. And we all know his whole shtick is going too far. Yeah, but I think this is like, nah, I'm good. Check the filter on the central air unit. I don't think that's it. I mean, I can. I think it was just checked. I can, but I don't think that's it. Love Yeezy music, but dude's in his own world. Yeah, he's in his own world. I just don't think... I like people that are edgy, even if I don't agree, but seeing like what happened to these families, I'm like, no. But we'll see. Whatever. It was something to talk about. But it's funny that he brought up the families, and the families are like, no, not cool. Not cool. All right, you all. Astro was a sacrifice. Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of theories about that. I just, you know, I grew up, my sister listened to like really heavy metal. I've been in a mosh pit before, not on purpose. Thank you. Not on purpose or anything like that, but I've seen cultures where, like, you know, you're listening, you're like at a heavy metal concert, people are in mosh pits. But the thing is, safety is still of a concern. You still have security, you still have things planned right, and this was just really, really off. So, you know what? The AC was turned on today for the first time. And like a long time, but I think we did clean out our units. Thank you. Well, hey, I stayed on for almost an hour. I made it for almost an hour, so that's pretty good. Oh, thank you. I tried tonight. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I think I'm going to head off tonight so I can have a good night and feel better. I think I'm going to get off tonight, so I think I'm just going to like take a shower and drink some hot tea and watch the news or something. Goldman, Sarah. Thank you so much, you guys. I hope you have a really good Friday. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out. I'm sorry I'm not feeling too hot. I will. Thank you guys very much. All right, you all have a really good Friday. I'll see you later. I'm going to get my life together. You get your life together. We'll all get our lives together. Okay, good night, you guys. Do you have Benadryl? It is helping a lot. I think I need Benadryl. It's a good time for goodbye. Okay, bye, you all. Thank you. All right, bye, you guys.